Why are we doing this? I know you guys say it's my job. Nick says it was my job to have arguments over two guys that are really
it's your job, Ken.
They're really backup quarterbacks. Like, why? Every day, knockdown dragouts. And now what? Kevin isn't being fair to Shedeur because he doesn't get many first-team reps or any at all during the week that they're trying to get ready for a football game? Is that really what it is? Play it, Owen. Play the answer.
No. I mean, with a young quarterback with Dillon starting, you want to make sure he gets a lot of the reps. Different when you have a veteran like Joe, but still getting reps in a bunch of periods.
And I got Jonathan. Oh, they're putting all their eggs in the Dillon Gabriel.
Advantage to that. It's going to be better than him just sitting on the sidelines. But again, this speaks to them putting all their eggs in the Dillon Gabriel basket with the idea that they think it's more valuable for Dillon to get all of them, and they just don't have enough reps to be able to do this all day.
Well, yeah, he's a starting quarterback. They're trying to win the game. And he's clearly behind, so he needs all the reps he can get, right?
Well, people are comparing this to when they had Flacco. Why was Dillon Gabriel getting some of the snaps? And it's like, well, this is clearly a different situation.
Why are we trying to make sense of any of this?
Flacco was the veteran that, by all accounts, didn't need to get everything. Like you wanted, the understudy to get some work in. But now the understudy is the starter, and he's young and needs all the reps he can get. It's just because they drafted Shedeur, that's the only reason we're having this discussion. Like, I just looked at the Browns, the vaunted, well, now it's kind of a mythical one, the quarterback jersey, to look at all the quarterbacks on the back to try to think about who we had these kind of fights over. And there's very few. And the reason we had very few is because we have another guy that people want to see. That's the only reason that we're debating Dillon Gabriel every day. Like, if he was just a third-round pick by his lonesome, I don't think we'd be having 90% of the arguments that we have.
Isn't it something like 67% of his passes or something like that? That's a number getting thrown around the internet. Some 60+% of his passes are under 10 yards. Mm-hmm. Like, guys, he needs all the help he can get. If you want the other guy to start, I don't want to say his name because it just ends up being everybody gets in and gets nuts about it. And I think, well, both sides seem to be pretty nuts. I want to live in reality here. The guy's throwing under 67% of his passes, or over 60% of his passes under 10 yards. Like, you're going to get your chance, probably more sooner than later, because that's the number 3 rush defense in the NFL you're taking on Sunday against the New England Patriots. So guess what? You're probably going to have to be sharp, and you're going to have to throw the football. And if he can't throw the football, you got a bye week coming up. You guys do the math. I'm not saying it's going to be his Waterloo, because who knows, but the guy needs all the help he can get. And none of this has made sense from August on. So if I'm trying to look at the history of it and trying to explain away what Joe didn't get and now what Dillon does get or anything like that, that's nuts. But and I'm not even, by the way, I'm not attacking Jonathan for the eggs in the basket thing, because it scares me, because if we are, quote unquote, putting our eggs in the basket, I mean, some of you guys call Shedeur Sanders fans a cult. Imagine being that side of it, that they think that Dillon Gabriel is really that great. Well, what world are we living in that tells us that that's been great? Nobody. So that's the one thing, like, Kevin would have
team and this organization. So why are we wasting time? Let's just get to Shedeur. People already just want to move and get to the next guy because they're not thinking about all that comes with that. Like what Joel Bitonio is going to think of that. What Wyatt Teller is going to think of that. Like all the veterans that are on this team. And because they just don't care. They're on to the next one. And that's what fans typically do anyway. And because you drafted him, and because he's one of the most famous dudes in the league, and he's never even played a down of football in the NFL, that adds to that conversation of people saying Dillon is clearly not the future.
Yeah, but I can't sit there and say that this guy's the future. I haven't seen him. And so
which is why let's see him.
But I would think
why
that
the thought is, well, let's see him, Ken. You yourself don't think everything you've said, Ken,
tells
about
me that
Dillon
Shedeur
Gabriel,
Sanders would have to play. Yeah, I know.
So why bother? What's the point of sticking with Dillon Gabriel? I'm giving the argument from everybody
because
I understand why you're gonna give him every rep.
Are they the most desperate team in the NFL for a quarterback, or at least one of the 3 most desperate teams? And they may very well be the most desperate team for. I don't know. The Jets sound pretty damn desperate right now when Woody Johnson's saying what he's saying, but they're one of the most desperate teams in the NFL for a quarterback. There, Guys, if he was that cut up with the offense, don't you think he'd be playing? Don't you think he'd be playing? And maybe you guys, I don't know. Some of us have just gone out in the media and said completely irresponsible things about Kevin Stefanski and his secret hate for Shedeur Sanders. You don't hate Shedeur Sanders, for the love of God. Think about what's coming out of your mouth before you say it when you're behind a microphone. He doesn't hate Shedeur. He's not bothered by Shedeur. He's not annoyed by the guy. Ain't none of that. He's trying to win a football game. All right? I don't have much faith in what's going on here either. But let's not lose our minds because we're trying to get the clicks here. Some of the stuff that we have said has been flat out either stupid or irresponsible or both, which is doubly scary.
Could they have gotten a handle of this whole situation early on, very early on, by being honest about where Shedeur was?
Probably not.
You don't think they could have?
No. Who knows? I don't know. It's just I'm just hearing
hold on. Think about it.
What?
All they said. Why are you getting angry? What they said at the start of everything
Not
was
mad at you.
there was a quarterback competition. There was never a quarterback competition with Shedeur.
Yeah, they shouldn't have said that.
So I think their messaging on this very early kind of invited this conversation where people thought Shedeur should be on an even playing field from day one, when anybody who's in that building says not only is he not in that conversation, like he is way back here.
Well, then the conversation would be, why'd you draft him in the first place?
I think that is part of the conversation.
But do they want to invite that conversation in? I don't know I don't need to rationalize what they're doing. We'll have a chance, hopefully, to hear from Andrew Berry and Kevin Stefanski during the bye week coming up next week.
Now, does it matter to you that like Mary Kay over the last few days has said, "Oh no, he's making great strides"?
Absolutely,
now, people in the building are telling her that.
I want to be less nervous when he goes out there. Do you believe those
people who are telling you that?
I have no idea in terms of...
what are they basing it on? He's not playing. He's not getting reps.
Well, is he getting reps? Well, wait a minute.
Is he getting smarter at the whiteboard?
Is there a second team that's going out there? He's got to be getting smarter at the whiteboard. If he's going to the meetings, he's got to be getting smarter there. As far as picking up what Kevin wants to run and melding it with what he's ran over the last 4 years of his career, I would hope that everybody's getting together on that one. See, like this does go, if you're not going to give him reps with the first team, see, this is where you have to kind of mix in what's been said in the past. If you're not giving him reps in the first team, which is basically, I would say, standard with a lot of teams, that you want your first team guy to play with the first team, especially when he himself hasn't had any reps. What did they say before? What was the thing that Ian Rappaport wrote before?
What, their plan of attack?
Their plan of attack, and they know that offense has to be different. So why am I going to put Shedeur Sanders in there? That's the question why I had, or why you made him the backup quarterback. What, to alleviate some of the stress of the people calling you out on the internet and all the people calling you out in the media? I don't want them to care that much about that. That's where, hey, you've brought that up before. Maybe you end up being right about that because maybe they're caring about the wrong things. But damn, eventually he's going to get to play.